Hello, welcome to part two of our pivot tables tutorial. This is going to be a fairly short and easy tutorial. We're going to learn how to add slicers in a chart. So slicers are interactive buttons that allow you to filter your data at the click of a button. So in this example, our pivot table shows average earnings by years of education, but we have two other fields up here, race and gender, that would be nice things to add for the user as slicers. So in the insert menu, if I click slicer, it shows my list of fields. Usually you pick ones that aren't already shown here. So I'm going to choose race and gender. Sometimes you have to move them around by grabbing somewhere and moving them. You can also resize them by clicking and moving the bottom or top or left or right of it to as large as you want to make them. But once they're active, this is our clear filter button that reselects everything. You can see on average the average earnings for everybody, the grand total was 37,000. So if I click on female as a slicer, I can see it goes down to 28,000, and I can see within that females with 8 years of education earn a little less than 14,000. Females with 18 years of education earn 52,000. And I could compare that to the males who overall are 44,000. With 18 years of education, they average 90,000 for this data set. This is not like national data. And you could do the same thing for race and compare white with Asian. And you could select, say, Asian males versus Asian females and clear the filter to get back. So what this has done really is change what people typically think of Excel as kind of a read-only. You create some results in a spreadsheet, and when you add slicers, it becomes an interactive screen. So it gives it a lot more power. Now the second thing I'm going to do is insert a chart that goes along with this. So I'm going to go to Insert and then Pivot Chart. Over here you can see various types of charts. So scatter charts, pie charts, line charts, column charts. If you choose this area, these pivot chart icons here, as opposed to the traditional charts here, which are the charts that you typically use. The advantage to using these pivot charts are that they coincide with they always match the pivot table data. So I'm going to add a line chart for this, just a traditional basic line chart that goes along with this data. And I'm going to close my pivot fields to look at a little bit, give myself a little bit more room. So I have these same results, and if you click on a slicer, you get the chart adjusts accordingly. One thing that's a little bit annoying is when you do a chart, the default legend and chart title sometimes need to be adjusted. This legend really isn't necessary, so I'm going to click on this legend that says total and just delete it, and then I'm going to improve the heading. It just says total. Total isn't very meaningful, but I could add a meaningful title that makes it self-explanatory, like average earnings by years of education. And now somebody can look at this and say, well, somebody with 8 years has this much, and you can visually see the trend. I like to use line charts when I have numeric data on the axis. I like to use bar charts when I have either bar or column charts when I have groups of data, like male versus female at the bottom. Um, so anyway, the pivot charts and tables are a really cool way to summarize your data and allow users to interactively see different subsets of the data.